What's going on, people? Today we have a very exciting video because I'm going to be talking about myself for the duration of this video because I'm so great and so fantastic. I've trained for a pretty long time. I've trained for 13 years, and what I'm going to do in this video is take you through my full training journey, all the mistakes that I've made, everything I've done wrong, everything I've done right, and just give you a bit of like realistic expectations in terms of what would happen if you train for 10 plus years consistently. We start off with this guy at 14, 15 years old, pretty skinny, pretty insecure, all the way to this Greek god, Chad looking Adonis motherfucker. 15 years old, here I am, I was very insecure, I didn't like the way that I looked, and as you can tell, like, all the chicks are taller than me, the guys are taller than me, and I was a late bloomer, or like a late developer. Like, I felt like I went through puberty probably a little bit late. My mates were all pretty tall, like all of these guys are over 6 foot now, and then the girls as well, who used to have like a massive crush on this one here, big shout out to Izzy. But yeah, man, very insecure, didn't like the way that I look, wanted to change. This is me at about 15 years old here. I'm about 5'11", I'm like 1 mil under 5'11". Here I'm probably a little bit shorter, about 160 pounds, and as you can see, like not a lot of mass in my arms, and I wanted to grow, I wanted to get bigger. So at 15, started going to the gym because that was the age that you're allowed to go to the school gym. So here, as you can tell, I've got like a year's training under my belt. I'm starting to get, like, you can kind of tell that I train here, which is like, get in there, get in there. I'm skinny, but I had no idea what I was doing. So literally at this stage, all I was doing was just going into the gym, doing random bro splits, random workouts. And I remember I used to do this thing called the 8-minute ab workout every day, which was completely pointless because I thought the way that you got abs was just by training your abs every single day. So I went onto YouTube, did this 8-minute abs workout every single day, which is pretty pointless because it's all about diet, all about getting lean, and then I just stopped eating as much food. And as you can tell, bro, I made some pretty good progress. So here I'm 16 years old and I am looking like, here I'm looking sick. It just goes to show that even though you don't know a lot of stuff and you're not doing effectively the right things, like you can make some pretty good progress just by being consistent with it. So age 16, as we go onwards, like I've got some training about, starting to get more confident here. As you can see, like I'm skateboarding, my top off. 17 years old, this is when I had 2 years of trash training under my belt. And I kind of like wanted to be a fighter and thought I was like this MMA fighter when I was just an absolute hard. And I used to go to like an MMA club and just get beaten up by guys like 4 or 5 years older than me. Pretty shit, but I remember taking this picture and being like, oh my god, like this is ridiculous, the shape that I'm in for a 17-year-old kid. And I started to get more confident, as you can see, like taking myself in the gym. I started fighting, which gave me a lot of confidence as well in myself. Started to like get more confidence with girls and women, and life was going absolutely amazingly. So it was like gym was changing my life, bro. Then at age 17, this is when things start to go downhill. So obviously I made this transformation video, which is kind of the first big video of mine on YouTube about this whole story. If you want to go on a trip down memory lane, go watch it. But I got an infection in my knee, long story short. So I started going to the gym, one of the reasons, because I suffer from a condition called lymphedema. And this is basically a problem in my lymphatic system, which is why I always have a black leg. And it makes me prone to infections. And then one day when I was about 17, I just woke up and I couldn't walk properly. I was in agonizing pain. I had an infection in my knee joint, got super ill, got hospitalized, lost pretty much all of my gains, as you can see here. So this is when I came out of hospital, lost all of my progress. Like look at my knees, like look how skinny my calf is. It looks like I've been in a wheelchair, and basically got put back to square one. So I think here I was maybe about 67 kilos again, literally back to square one. Really skinny, really demoralizing, really demotivated. But then I got out of hospital and I was like, you know what, like I want to, the doctor said I probably would never be able to run again or do like a lot of intense physical exercise involving my legs. But I was like, you know what, fuck this, I want to see what I can do and how hard I can push my body. So at 17 years old, I'd say that's when I really started training hard. So 15 to 17 was kind of like lunchtime in the gym, like going every single lunchtime, maybe like for like 45 minutes, just doing random weights and random things. And then 17, like from here onwards, I actually started to apply myself and be like, okay, gonna learn a bit about training, a bit about nutrition, go on like a proper split and actually start trying to really improve myself, improve my lifts at the gym. This is 18, so a year I basically just got big, went into a bulk, didn't really care about fat, but I made substantial amount of progress around this time as well. Bulked up, got fat, and I had this amazing idea to make this transformation video, like eyes on the prize, and wanted to start a YouTube channel, and this is why I kind of started a YouTube channel. So, got into this absolutely sick shape here. At this point, I've trained pretty consistently for like 3 years. Then, at 18 years old, I went to university, and this is kind of like when my foot went really on the gas, and I went into absolute overdrive. So I became like some autistic gym kid who never really went out, who never really did anything fun, literally wasted the whole of university in terms of like drinking, partying, etc. I didn't really do that at all at uni. I did a bit of that when I was young. I actually used to sell, not gonna go into this to get me demonetized. 18 was around the time when things really started to kick off for me in terms of social media, in terms of like training, in terms of physique. And the reason for that was I started university. I joined this gym called the Engine Room, which is like this hardcore bodybuilding gym. And I got into this like power building phase. Like power building was kind of the thing, where you do like powerlifting cross between bodybuilding. And it's pretty dumb. Like it's pretty fucking stupid. Like there's a lot to be said for getting stronger, but you do not need to squat, bench or deadlift. Anything below 6 reps really isn't going to be great for muscle building. And then as well, I'd also train with this ridiculously high volume. Like I'd do like 40 sets per week per muscle group, which is just completely unnecessary, bro. Like anywhere between 10 to 20, 15 sets per week per muscle group is all you need. Literally all you need. And then around this time as well, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get as fat as possible, as big as possible, to bulk up as much as I can. And as you can see, so this is here kind of at my heaviest when I was at the stage, 95 kilograms, 210 pounds. And I kind of look lean just because of like my abs are really, really thick, probably because I trained them so much as younger. But if you look at my face is like a literal square, bro. So I was pretty damn fat. And I think getting fat definitely did help me put on a lot of size, but there's levels to it. You don't need to properly overdo it, but I was just fully involved in the bulk. Then we decided to cut down. So at age 19, I wanted to do my first men's physique show. So I cut down here from about 95 kilos, probably down to about 84, 83 off the top of my head, down to about 82. So I lost almost 20 kilos, I think. This is sick, like shredded, lean. And again, all I would do is literally just cardio, just train like with a ridiculous amount of volume, and then just track my calories. Like just track my calories. I think I started eating about 3,000 calories a day, gradually brought them down, and this is where I really started to be sensible and a bit smarter with my nutrition anyway. Maybe not my training, but really the nutrition was good. The nutrition was on point. About 1 gram protein per pound of body weight, a little bit more. Started at high calories and gradually dropped things down and down and down and down, just to push my weight down lower and lower and lower. And that's literally it. All you need to do. So this is a few weeks out from a men's physique show here. I want to say that this is a highlight reel as well. So obviously I'm not going to take photos of me when I'm looking awful. So you're seeing like the best possible photos. So on the left, I look absolutely yoked, bro. But I was probably pretty small. Like I wasn't that big at all. And then on the right as well, like one thing I was absolutely shredded. But anyway, did the men's physique show, placed 3rd. My lesson from this is that I probably could have got 2nd, or I probably would have been a better contender for 1st if my posing was better. But did the show, placed 3rd, and this was when I first properly experienced like an ED. Basically, a problem with eating, to the point where I was making myself sick at times, not very good. I just developed this monstrous binge eating disorder. So every single day after a show, I'd try and adhere to a diet, and I would just binge. I gained so much weight, got so fat, and I was just completely unprepared for what was gonna happen after my men's physique show, after I dieted down. Because like people didn't speak about that stuff on YouTube. Like I literally had no idea. And it was like, because I dieted down so much, cravings are absolutely crazy. I thought it was a great idea to go to an all-you-can-eat buffet after the show, which turned out to be the worst ever thing ever. I got into a really bad place of food. Just when you thought things didn't get much worse, things got worse, and I got another infection in my knee. So this is actually my leg. You can kind of see the swelling in here. The lymphedema actually affects the swelling. Shortly after the show, I had a lot of problems with my leg, and as you can see, like I can fit my whole hand around my leg, like because it's so much atrophy has happened where I've just been unable to walk. But came back from that, and then at age 21, I basically had a mental breakdown. So this was the start of my party boy era, right? And 21 was when I was leaving university. I remember it was the week before my final exams. I was in a relationship. I wasn't happy with my relationship, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna go to this event, went to this thing, and had the best time of my life, boys. So this was like the party boy era, where all of the missed university partying just exploded. And it was so good for my confidence. It was like I discovered a whole new world, met so many people, like met loads of chicks as well. And obviously I'm a gym lad, I'm a guy that's in good shape, being a little boy going around topless. And it was absolutely fantastic, mate. I was going out a lot, I was going to festivals, I was partying, I was really enjoying myself. But the main thing is, like, through all this, I'd still train 5 days a week consistently, hit my macros. Like even if I was going to a festival, like, I'd make sure I get all the training done before and do that. And then I met up with my girlfriend at the time, Millie. Big shout out to Millie. Like I know we had our differences. We were both young and dumb, and all is forgiven. Likewise. Anyway, party boy era going down. As you can tell, like I've got like too much confidence now, loads more confidence, and I'm like, holy shit, this whole gym thing is amazing. Like, I had to include these ones as I mocked Tom Stockton here, who's actually a physique competitor now, looking absolutely sick. And yeah, just had an amazing time. Around this time as well, like the social media was blowing up, boys, and this is where I got to meet like loads of sick people, like Dave, Andre as well. I'm still friends with now, like absolute G's, and learned loads of the trainers. Actually, Andre's videographer for the start of his YouTube channel. I made all of his YouTube videos to start. party straight up to London. And in this, bro, like, it's a highlight reel, okay? Looking at this photo, you're like, there is no way I am natty. Like, look at my traps, they're bigger than Andre's. Andre's obviously using stuff. Like, but in terms of like looking at muscle fullness, like Andre's obviously a lot fuller, a lot more vascularity. But then again, you could say like, it looks like I got a little bit of gyno there. Andre doesn't, so therefore I must not be natural. But it is about angles, and having this outside angle probably makes you look twice as big. But in reality, Andre is literally double my size in every possible way. But again, if you get to the edge of a lens trick, it distorts your arm to make you look bigger. But anyway, 21, partying, mad shape, life was going amazing. Then me and my girlfriend at the time went to Asia, went traveling, and this is where like the girlfriend disease hit me. I got pretty chubby out there, like going out for meals, kind of like just doing all kinds of different stuff. I was still training, like getting to the gym in Asia, but as you can see, I'm a pretty porky boy. Age 22 is when my life went downhill, bro. So obviously uni had finished. I had the most incredible summer of my life. Like I had my first proper love. Like I really loved this girl, and then we broke up. Like things didn't go well out in Asia. Like it is what it is. Come back to me. I'm sorry. Nah, joking. Girlfriend is watching this and joking. The girls between the age of 12 and 25 are just some of the most neurotic creatures in the world. So things didn't go too well in that relationship. But nonetheless, in hindsight, it's probably not best to meet your girlfriend at a rave when you're intoxicated on all kinds of different substances that release serotonin that make you think you're in love. Very bad idea. Anyway, had this crazy summer, and then it all came crashing down. I was living at university, and then I moved back to my small town, into my dad's spare room after university, and I became really miserable, bro. My life literally went to shit. Gained a load of weight, started binge eating again. Literally, as you can tell, like I'm super fat here. There's not many pictures or videos of me just because I was hating everything. Started smoking weed every single day. Started playing video games until like 3 a.m. And then my car broke down as well. I was in a really bad place, but regardless of everything, I would still train. I'd still go to the gym. And in the UK, it'd be like 4 p.m. It'd get dark at this point in winter. And I didn't have a car. I lived in this small village like outside of the actual town where the gym was. So I would walk 3 miles every single day, there and back in the pitch black, in the pouring rain, down these like country lanes in the middle of the night. I thought I was gonna get eaten by some like creature. And that was the one thing that I kept doing through all of this. The one thing, it probably saved me in a way, man. Like, that was the, like, training, like, going to the gym, like, that's the only progression that I had in my life at the time. The only thing that, like, grounded me, that gave me any kind of joy. Anyway, things slowly started to get better. Still living at home with my dad as, like, summer kind of came around. My birthday's in May, 23 years old, and I decided, like, I wanted to get out of my rut and actually, like, do something and really push myself and challenge myself again. So I decided that I wanted to do a proper men's physique show. So gave myself 16 weeks to prep. This is a starting point. 93 kilos, 205 pounds. I started with a coach at this time as well, and you don't need a coach, but it's kind of another thing you can do to level up your training, to level up everything. And this is like another level up to my physique and my like kind of knowledge. I learned a lot, and my training, and kind of like leveling everything up. So I started high intensity training as well. My coach, like high intensity, low volume training at like lower volume. So maybe only doing 10, 15 working sets per week per muscle group. So a workout in the gym for chest might look like you go into the gym, you do 3 exercises at 2 sets per exercise, and I do that twice a week, but all of my sets would be till failure. So 23 years old, 5 years ago is when I started doing this high intensity training approach. I've never looked back since, like absolutely love it. I'm not talking about like scraping out reps. I'm training till like 1 rep in reserve, but the majority of people do not train hard enough. That's the main thing. But anyway, started with this prep and I got into the best shape of my life, bro. Like this here, probably one of my favorite photos. Like it's ridiculous. My delts are capped. I'm absolutely shredded. I'm looking sick. Like I'm looking really like that men's physique look, tiny waist, really good, bro. Obviously, social media is a highlight reel. So as you can see here, like this is the same day. Like this is literally the same day, bro. Like look how different this picture is. And this is a good picture as well. So it's like, take all of this with a pinch of salt, okay? Take all of this with a pinch of salt. Then right, 4 weeks from my show, I'd got into this crazy shape, and bam, I was smited down and I got another infection in my leg. But this time it was on my birthday. I landed in London, I was on my own, and I had to go into surgery on my knee, like rush into surgery, same thing again. But I was out pretty quick. So I think I was only in hospital for maybe 5-6 days. I think I only had the 1 surgery, but as you can see on the right, like this is how I'm looking. Like it looks like I've lost all of my progress, but a lot of it should be water retention, like kind of dumping that glycogen, making you look smaller, making you look fatter, the cortisol leading to stress and water retention. So I was like, it. You know what? I should probably be recovering from a knee surgery. I'm going to do my prep anyway. I'm going to try and compete in 4 weeks' time. So I had 4 weeks to prep here. And this is kind of a starting point. It's fresh out of hospital. As you can see, like, I'm not looking good at all. But bam, bro, this is the day before the show. We managed to absolutely smash it and nail it in. I was doing an hour of cardio a day. I was on like 1700 calories. And I was like literally smashed it. I managed to get into this mad shape from this in 4 weeks. Did the show and I managed to win. Placed first at the show, which was absolutely crazy. And the fact I won this was absolutely mental, man. I was so happy. And as you can see, like, the shape is really, really good. So it's about 174 pounds here, 78 kilos. So about 10 kilos up after about seven years of training, 8 years of training, which is pretty damn good going, to be honest. Then, right, we got really fat again. I didn't learn anything at all. I started binge eating again, and the exact same thing happened. Again, didn't really take many photos of this time because I got fat, miserable, mainly just fat. I think I'm still pretty happy. I don't know, but I don't look very happy in this photo. But partying, eating, doing all kinds of naughty things. And then at age 24, I stayed fat. So I decided to go into a bit of a bulk. And I think this is one of the main things that's been like giving me pretty solid good progress. Is like, I know it's a highlight reel and I'm not shredded 24/7. I'm probably shredded like 20% of the time. And then it's like, for the vast majority of the time, I'm at higher body fats. And when you are at that slightly higher body fat, you can build a lot of muscle. You're gonna be anabolic, you're in calorie surplus, you can build up muscle and you can train hard, you can get stronger. So at age 24 was the Rona time. And at this time, I moved in with my mates, Tom and Alex, changed my environment and just like enjoyed life, ate a lot of food and just really tried to maintain and build a bit of muscle because we weren't going out, weren't going anywhere in the bulk by getting a bit fat. Obviously I overdid it, look, it's felt on the right, but man, we moved. As you can see, it's kind of the progression. Started to clean up the diet a little bit into the summer and just get leaner and leaner and leaner over the course of a year until I got to a pretty damn good place here and my chest is just blowing up as well. That's the first thing I noticed. And this is kind of when I decided to make it work no matter what. Rather than stopping training, we built this like home gym in our garage. We actually got evicted from this apartment for this. No idea why. And then I moved to Portugal as well. And again, Portugal was in a mad lockdown. So I'd actually fill these bottles up with sand and do workouts every single day, full bodies workouts, using bottles full of sand and a broomstick and resistance band. And I was like, I'm gonna make this work no matter what, boys. And as you can see, like, I'm in pretty sick shape here. Like, I'm holding on to a lot of size. It just goes to show that, like, what is your excuse at the end of the day? It doesn't matter if you haven't got access to a gym. Where there's a will, there's a way. And this is also the time that I went through my calisthenics phase. So I started doing calisthenics because I could, really started to enjoy it and started to train in different ways and like implement this into my training as well because it's really fun, like being functional fit. Then 25 came around and I had the worst thing of my life. I had the worst surgery of my life by far. I had a full synovectomy of my knee joint where they cut out the knee lining, they open your knee joint up like they're doing a joint replacement without actual knee replacement. And this was awful, man. This was really awful. The recovery from this was pretty long. As you see on the left, like I lost a lot of size in hospital over Christmas, got super sick, but I did the same thing as always. And it's like, if you want to get big, I disregarded, like I accepted as get a bit fat, get a bit fluffy, just ate a load of food, trained super hard and came back as soon as I could. And as you can see on the right, like I've got pretty damn chubby here. Like this is kind of what I was looking like on the right. Not really any abs. Obviously not awful, but getting a bit of a belly. And this is kind of the end point of the bulk. Managed to recover from that, come back, and then I cut down to pretty good shape as well. Pretty much back to where I was and kind of beyond a little bit. I find that all these hospitalizations, man, it's like glass half empty, glass half full. It's like, it makes me hungry to train, to improve, to get better. And it's like, would I be able to do this? Would I work as hard if I didn't have all these setbacks? And the setbacks, like, they fucking fire me up, bro. When people are like, oh, you can't do this, or you can't do that. Like, that's the shit that gets me going and fires me up. So anyway, got in really good shape. I just wanted to enjoy myself, enjoy my life, and I started going out again, but training as well. Finding like a bit more balance, staying a bit leaner. I started to get more photo shoots at brands like Vanquish, like clothing brands, etc., etc. So I had to stay in pretty good shape, but I wanted to have fun and enjoy myself as well. So 25, going to a lot of festivals, meeting a lot of people. Next few years, loads of traveling, not getting super shredded, staying a little bit of higher body fat. This is probably like the leanest I got here, but that would do me favors because it means that if I'm not shredded, I'm not losing a lot of muscle. So I'd still get fat. Again, this is like a highlight reel, still gain a bit of fat. Like this is kind of like after a trip to Thailand, I'm holding a bit more excess body fat. But as you get bigger, as you get more muscle, the skin's gonna be stretched over a larger area. So you get the illusion of kind of being leaner, than you would like if you had less muscle. So the fact that my chest is a lot bigger here, the fact that I'm building more muscle makes me look a lot leaner than I am. And it's kind of like a hack. And if you realize you invest the time in growing muscle, then you're gonna get to a point where like you can hold a lot more body fat, eat a lot more food, and you still look pretty damn lean. So every year when I bulk up, I'd get slightly less fat, I'd look slightly leaner, and then when I cut down, I'd be a little bit leaner and a little bit more muscle. So over time, it's kind of like this. I'm basically just very slowly, or like a linear graph, improving your physique through bulks and cuts, bulks and cuts. And the amount of fat that I gain is kind of getting less extreme, less extreme, less extreme. So I'm looking better year round, but it takes time to like develop this foundation. After this, I decided I wanted to try and get the best shape of my life. So I got another coach and I got in the best shape of my life by far, just because I could, literally just for the hell of it. About 86, 87 kilos here. This picture on the bottom left, obviously like I'm fresh out of a sauna, angles, lighting, pump, it's in a gym. I'm looking absolutely mental though. Like that is ridiculous. Like that guy, that's like Olympia stage looking motherfucker. Like no sugarcoating that. But I got in the best shape of my life anyway. But again, like take it with a pinch of salt, highlight reel, like obviously angles, lighting, etc., and really, really good shape. So man, every bulk, like I said, slight improvements, and I was getting to this shape like around here that I was actually quite comfortable to hold on to. So like this level of leanness is like I got to a stage where I had enough muscle to hold to this leanness pretty comfortably, and I really felt like I got into a point where I could like hold onto this like kind of dream physique after what, 10, 11 years of training relatively easily, and I kind of started to like really find balance with it. In terms of nutrition, like throughout all of this and kind of like the approach that I take, I eat pretty much the same stuff every single day. Like every morning, like every meal must have a source of veg, like a high quality source of fruit or veg with it, a high quality source of protein with it, so it's not a meal unless it has these things like 30 plus grams of protein. I pretty much eat the same stuff every single day, or the same protein sources every single day, like beef, chicken, like the same amount, the same stuff, eggs, and then I just vary the carbs to keep it interesting. And then I'd eat out as well, but it's very rare that I'll actually eat stuff like burgers. I eat a lot of Asian, like Japanese food, hot pots, Korean stuff, Thai food, which again, like really isn't bad macros at all, but that's kind of an approach to nutrition. And then this, 26 years old, I kind of fly through this because obviously I had a lot of surgeries, but I knew that there was a surgery coming, and this was the biggest one that I had. I actually had the lymph node transplant surgery. Made a video on it again, the lymph node transplant, I'll put it in here, but they transplanted a lymph node. I had this experimental surgery in Paris, and I knew this was going to be a big one. So I just wanted to enjoy my life, like doing all kinds of crazy stuff before, like I didn't know what was going to happen really, man. I didn't know if it was going to work. I didn't know if it was going to come out of it crippled. I didn't know if my life was going to change like negatively forever. It's pretty scary because like this surgery, like a lot of surgeons don't even know it exists. It's so rare, and there's only a handful of people in the world that do it. It's a pretty major surgery. So I was surfing all the time, I was skydiving all the time, I was taking these trips. This is in Chicago. I was skiing. I was literally doing everything, living my best life. And then man, 27, so last year is when the big surgery happened, and I had a hair transplant the same year as well. A couple of months after, I was like, fuck, let's get it done, let's do it. So the big one was the surgery, and as you can see after the surgery here on the right, kind of like bulked into it a little bit, but my approach always has been like, when I'm ill, when I'm not able to train, I'll always let myself get a little bit fat. Number one, because I love food. Number two, because I know that you're gonna retain a lot of the muscle if you're eating enough food, sufficient calories versus like not eating enough. A few months off training ultimately. It was a long time off training, but did what I normally did, worked really hard, bulked up, and this is kind of the end point. On the left here is a more realistic photos, but as you can see, it got pretty big. So I think this is like maybe 6 months after the surgery, which is probably the total time it took me to fully recover from it. This is where I was at. And for the next year, I kind of stayed at higher body fat, didn't really get very lean. And I was like, you know, I kind of spent the year fat. But regardless, through all of this, like I went away, I was living in Asia at this point, I was living in Thailand where I am now last year as well, and I was like, you know what, like I want to compete, I want to get into the best shape of my life, I want to really challenge myself. So this was the starting point to the prep. And I put this photo on the right here just to kind of show you how social media like changes things, or like how it is a highlight reel, because like in these 3 photos here, like, I've got a pump, I'm in decent lighting, I look massive, mate. Like I look absolutely huge. And then in this kind of neutral photo in the morning in crappy lighting, like I look a bit more normal. You can kind of like gauge it. But as you can see, I'm a big thick boy. I look at these, I'm like, I never want to get this big again. I think it's just too big, bro. But anyway, 94 kilograms at the start of prep. So we did a 17-week prep. Training remained exactly the same. Like I was training 2 days on, 1 day off. So I'd legs, push, rest, legs, pull, rest, and then just basically repeat that. So 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 1 day off to give me a nice amount of rest. This was halfway through the prep at about 87 kilos. So I've lost about 5 kilos here, 6 kilos. And as you can see, I think this weight, like I'm on this back shot, I'm looking big. But this is about 8 weeks in. So I had another, 10 weeks, 9 weeks left to go. And this was the end result. So as you can see, I'm absolutely freaking peeled. Like this is the best shape I've ever been in my life. Outrageously shredded, but I definitely did lose a lot of size as well. Maybe in these photos you can see it a little bit better. Like especially look at this back shot compared to this one. Like the amount of size that I lost on this prep. But bro, I was absolutely whammed. So steps on stage for this at the PCA Naturals in the UK. PCA Natural Show, drug tested, polygraphed. I'm polygraphed and drug tested, bro. I'm the nicest guy in the world. It's funny because I remember Simeon Panda used to say that, and I used to be like, this guy's so full of shit. But yeah, I've actually, like, you come off stage and you have the drug test and all of this. But I do believe everyone there was natural. But it was a stacked lineup. It's a sold out show. But boys, we managed to win. I got first place, and it was by far the best shape I'd ever been in my entire life, man. As you can see on bottom right here, like I didn't even think I could get to this like naturally. I thought there's no way you could ever get into this shape. And again, pump angles and lighting, etc., etc. It's probably not it's definitely not maintainable for me naturally, like being that lean. But that is kind of the shape we brought to the stage. We won it, and I was absolutely over the moon. In terms of after the show, I'm about 6 kilos up in 2 months from my stage weight, so 6 kilograms heavier. You might think in Mo that's loads of weight, but that is really, really, really good. Like I'm super happy with it. And the hardest part after the diet is actually not binge eating and spiraling out of control. And this is the first time in my life after the show I felt like I developed enough discipline. I knew what I was doing. I was emotionally mature enough, like not to do this after the show, but it was so hard, bro. So I'm 6 kilograms up now. This picture on the right, you can kind of see like the shape that I'm in, how I'm looking. I'm looking big, I'm looking thick, I'm looking pretty watery. But plan of attack moving forwards now, man, is like, it's like an elastic band. Like the further you stretch it, the more it's gonna wanna spring back. Some weight gain was inevitable, which is completely fine. Like I wanted to enjoy myself, eat out, party. I've been to Ibiza, I've been like all over the world since in the last 2 months. I'm incredibly lucky. The long-term plan for me now is to drop a few kilos, like a couple of kilos on this frame. But do that through like lifestyle changes rather than just hammering cardio and starving myself. So the main thing is creating this lifestyle change. It's gonna give me a physique that I want at the end. But from this whole video, boys, like the main thing is just like consistency, being consistent with it. It isn't so much like optimizing everything, doing something perfectly. You got to remember, like you got to consider what's practical, what's optimal, what's enjoyable. Like you could do the most optimal thing in the world, but if you can't stick to it, you don't enjoy it, like you're not going to get any good results from it. But yeah, boys and girls, that is pretty much everything. Any questions, drop me a message down below. I'll try and get back to as many as possible. I do get back to them on Instagram. I don't really get back to a lot of YouTube comments, although I read them all. Drop it a like, drop it a comment for the algorithm. Let me know what you want to see, because like social media, boys, recently has just been absolutely butt fucking me, especially Instagram. I'm shadow banned on there, so drop me a follow at Mo Samuels. Please save my Instagram account. I really try hard, but I feel like the algorithm gods are against me at times. So yeah, if you could help me out, that'd be absolutely sick. If you want to grab any supplements, huge supplements, code MO for the best pre-workouts in the game. They're literally ridiculous. Vanquish for the best gym gear in the game as well. Code MO10 to get 10% off. And then if you want any training, meal plans customized for you by me, you can get a custom meal plan. And if I remember, I'll put a deal on for this video if you found it through this for that. Anyway, people, peace out, love to bits. Thank you. Good night.